July 25th, 1944, just after dawn, outside the hedgerows of Normandy, France. The first thing you notice is the smell. Crushed leaves, hot oil, cordite hanging low in the damp morning air. A single American soldier stumbles out of the bogage, helmet chipped, uniform darkened with sweat and dirt. His rifle hangs uselessly at his side. The fighting has rolled past him like a storm, leaving only echoes, distant artillery, the cough of machine guns somewhere beyond the fields. Then the shouting starts. German voices, close, too close. Boots crash through brush. A rifle butt slams into his ribs, knocking the wind from his lungs. He drops to one knee, then another. Steel fingers tear the weapon from his hands. A Mauser barrel presses into the back of his neck. Hände hoch! Hands up. He obeys, slowly, calmly. The Germans circle him, young faces, older eyes, 21 of them, give or take. Infantrymen from a unit cut off during the retreat. Their uniforms are dusty, their expressions sharp with adrenaline and hunger. They've been running for days. They're tired, and now, finally, they have a prisoner. The American looks at them, and he smiles. It's not fear, not shock, something else. A quiet, almost amused curl at the corner of his mouth. One of the Germans notices. He steps closer, studying the man's face. The American's eyes are clear, alert. Too alert for someone who's just been caught alone behind enemy lines. "What are you smiling at?" the German snaps in accented English. The American doesn't answer. A laugh slips out instead. Soft, brief, real. The Germans stiffen. You can almost feel the tension tighten like wire. Laughter is not normal here. Not from a man with no weapon, no backup, no way out. Not from someone who should already be calculating how long he has left to live. A sergeant barks orders, 2 rifles lower. Another German steps behind him, yanking his arms back, rough rope biting into his wrists. The knot is tight, professional. They've done this before. The American winces, but only for a second. Then his face settles again, calm. They push him forward, marching him down a narrow farm track between hedges so thick they block the sky. The earth is wet underfoot. Somewhere nearby, a cowbell clanks lazily, indifferent to the war crawling past its field. The Germans talk among themselves, short bursts of words. They're deciding where to take him. Battalion headquarters, maybe. Intelligence will want him. An American this far forward might know something useful. The prisoner listens, counts footsteps, notes spacing. One German walks too close. Another keeps his rifle slung instead of ready. Their formation is sloppy, men exhausted, overconfident, drunk on the small victory of a captured enemy. The American glances down. There's a loose stone on the path, a shallow dip where water is pooled, a gap in the hedge where the branches are thinner, lighter, recently broken by passing armor. He files it all away. One of the Germans shoves him again, harder this time. "Move!" The American stumbles forward, on purpose, just enough to sell it, just enough to make them laugh. "Careful, Yang can't even walk." The American laughs again, louder now. It echoes strangely in the narrow lane, bouncing off dirt and leaves and steel helmets. For a heartbeat, the sound hangs there, wrong and out of place. The sergeant turns sharply. "Enough," he snaps. The American meets his eyes, and for the first time, the smile disappears. In its place, something colder, focused, predatory. The Germans don't notice the change. They're already relaxing, already thinking this moment is over. That's the mistake. The American shifts his weight, just a little, testing the rope, feeling where it cuts, where it can give. His hands flex once behind him. The rope creaks. One of the Germans frowns, starts to step closer. The American inhales, deep, steady. Time seems to stretch, not in slow motion, but in clarity, every sound sharp, every face etched, every weapon accounted for. This isn't panic. This is calculation. Because the truth, the part the Germans haven't realized yet, is simple and terrifying. They didn't capture a helpless man. They captured a weapon that's been waiting for an excuse to be used. And in a few seconds, far fewer than anyone expects, this quiet farm lane is going to erupt into something none of them will walk away from. The American shifts his weight, just a little, testing the rope, feeling where it cuts, where it can give. His hands flex once behind him. The rope creaks. One of the Germans frowns, starts to step closer. The American inhales, deep, steady. Time seems to stretch, not in slow motion, but in clarity. Every sound sharp, every face etched, every weapon accounted for. This isn't panic. This is calculation. Because the truth, the part the Germans haven't realized yet, is simple and terrifying. They didn't capture a helpless man. They captured a weapon that's been waiting for an excuse to be used. And in a few seconds, far fewer than anyone expects, this quiet farm lane is going to erupt into something none of them will walk away from. The American shifts his weight, just a little. This time, he doesn't stumble. He moves. The rope snaps, not cleanly. Fibers tear, burn under sudden strain. The American twists his shoulders hard, dropping his weight, wrenching his wrists apart with a force born from weeks of exhaustion and months of combat training drilled into muscle memory. The Germans don't react fast enough. They never do. The first second is everything. He spins left, low and violent, crashing shoulder first into the nearest soldier's chest. The man goes down hard, air blasted from his lungs in a wet grunt. The American's hands are already free, blood slicking his wrists where the rope bit deep. A rifle comes up in front of him, too slow. He grabs the barrel, yanks it down, and drives his forehead forward. Helmet meets nose, bone cracks. The German collapses without a sound, dropping the weapon. The American catches it before it hits the ground. 1 second. The lane explodes into shouting, "Achtung! Er ist los!" The American doesn't aim. He fires from the hip. The first shot punches into a chest at 5 feet, the recoil slamming into his shoulder. The second drops a man turning to run. The third tears through a helmet, spraying dirt and blood against the hedge. The Mauser's bolt snaps back and forward with brutal efficiency. He works it without thinking. Years of training, hours on the range, countless drills under stress. His world narrows to targets and timing. The Germans scatter, trying to form a line. They don't get the chance. He steps forward, aggressive, closing distance. Another shot, another body crumples. A scream cuts off mid-breath. Someone fires back. A round snapped past his ear, close enough to feel the heat. He drops, rolls, comes up kneeling behind the first fallen man, uses the corpse as cover without hesitation. This is not rage, it's precision. A German lunges with a bayonet. The American fires once, misses. The German smiles just for a fraction of a second. Then the American swings the rifle like a club, smashing the stock into the man's jaw. Teeth scatter into the dirt. He pulls the trigger point blank. The rifle clicks, empty. No pause. He throws it down, already moving, snatching a submachine gun from a dying soldier's hands. MP-40, familiar enough. Safety off, finger finds the trigger. He squeezes. The weapon roars, short, controlled bursts, left to right. Men drop like cut wheat. One tries to crawl. Another trips over a fallen comrade and scrambles to get up, eyes wide, mouth working soundlessly. The American advances. You can almost hear his boots over the gunfire, steady, deliberate, unhurried. 5 seconds. The lane is chaos now. Smoke hangs low. Dirt sprays from bullet strikes. Germans shout orders that no one follows. They're no longer a unit, just individuals reacting too late. A soldier dives into the hedge. The American tracks him, firing through leaves and branches. The hedge shakes violently, then goes still. Another German raises his hands. Nicht schießen! The American fires anyway. This isn't cruelty, it's survival. 10 seconds. A grenade arcs through the air.
The American sees it, spins, dives behind a shallow ditch as it detonates. The blast slams into his back, rattles his teeth, showers him with dirt and fragments. He's already moving before the echo fades. Up, fire. 3 more bodies fall. Someone tries to flank him, boots pounding through the hedge gap he noticed earlier. The American pivots, drops to one knee, and fires a burst that cuts the man down mid-stride. 15 seconds. The soundscape changes. Fewer shots, more groans. The American breathes hard now, sweat streaking grime down his face. His hands shake, not from fear, but from exertion. He forces them steady. A final cluster of Germans huddles near the far end of the lane, weapons half raised, minds racing, trying to understand how this went so wrong so fast. One of them fires wildly. The round kicks dirt near the American's boot. He answers with controlled fire. 2 down. 20 seconds. Only a few remain. One breaks and runs. The American tracks him, fires a burst that drops him face first into the mud. Another stumbles, wounded, screaming for his mother. The American passes him without looking. He's counting now, not consciously, but somewhere beep, a tally is being kept. Threats eliminated, space cleared, angle safe. 25 seconds. Silence begins to creep back in. Not complete silence, just the absence of return fire, the eerie aftermath of sudden violence. The American stops moving. He stands there, chest heaving, gun smoking in his hands, surrounded by bodies sprawled across the narrow lane. Blood darkens the earth. Leaves drip red. 21 Germans went in. None are standing. 45 seconds. He listens. Nothing. No footsteps, no shouted orders, no engines, just distant artillery and the buzzing of flies already finding their way to the dead. The American exhales slowly. Then he does something unexpected. He laughs. Not loud, not hysterical, just a single breathless chuckle, half disbelief, half release. But the moment doesn't last, because somewhere beyond the hedgerows, the war is still moving, and the sound of engines are starting to grow.
The engines are real. Not imagination, not adrenaline. Low, grinding diesel, half-tracks or trucks, maybe both, somewhere beyond the hedgerows, close enough that the sound vibrates faintly through the ground. The American freezes, gun still up, fingers straight along the trigger guard now. Breathing slows by force of will. He scans left, right, over bodies twisted at impossible angles, over dropped helmets and shattered rifles, and dark pools soaking into Normandy soil. 45 seconds of violence, and now the bill is coming due. He strips the MP40 from his sling and checks the magazine. Light, too light. He swaps it for another from a dead man's chest rig, then another. Fast, practiced hands. He doesn't linger, doesn't look at faces, doesn't allow the weight of what just happened to settle in. Survival mode doesn't allow reflection. He drags 2 bodies together and pulls them slightly into the hedge, creating the illusion of a collapsed position. A quick glance tells him what he already knows. This place will not stay quiet long. 21 men don't simply disappear without someone noticing. He moves. Not running, not yet. He slips through the gap in the hedgerow he memorized earlier, boots careful to avoid snapping branches. On the other side, open field, tall grass, a shallow rise that leads toward a tree line half a mile away. He drops prone. Listens again. The engines are closer now. German voices float through the morning air, confused, sharp, rising in pitch. Someone has found the bodies. Shouts turn into barking orders, a whistle. Then gunfire, wild, probing bursts fired into hedges and fields, more fear than intent. The American exhales through his nose. He crawls, each movement measured, elbows digging into damp earth, grass brushing his face. His heart hammers, but his mind stays cold and clear. He angles away from the sound, using the rise to mask his movement. Behind him, the Germans begin to fan out. Too late. By the time they reach the lane, he's already halfway across the field. By the time they realize what happened, that a single prisoner turned into a slaughter, they're not hunting a man anymore. They're hunting a ghost. The American reaches the tree line and disappears into shadow just as bullets stitch the grass where he'd been seconds earlier.
He doesn't stop. He moves through the woods at a steady lope, navigating by sun angle and instinct, putting distance between himself and the kill site. Every snapped twig sounds like a gunshot. Every bird that takes flight makes his muscles tense. Only when the sounds of pursuit fade does he finally slow. He leans against a tree, sliding down until he's sitting in the dirt. Then, just for a moment, his hands start to shake. The adrenaline drains fast, leaving exhaustion in its wake. His wrists throb where the rope burned skin raw. His shoulder screams from recoil and impact. There's blood on his sleeve. German blood may be his, he's not sure. He wipes his face with the back of his hand, laughs again. This time, there's no humor in it. Only disbelief. Only the quiet realization that he's still alive. Hours later, as Allied lines push forward, an American patrol moves cautiously through the bocage near the abandoned lane. They find the bodies first. 21 of them. Some shot, some beaten, some lying where they fell, others sprawled in confusion. The lieutenant swears under his breath. What the hell happened here? No one answers. There's no sign of a firefight between units, no shell craters, no mixed casualties. Just Germans, cold dead, all close range. One of the soldiers notices something else. Cut rope. The story spreads fast. By nightfall, it's already changing, sharpening at the edges, growing teeth. A captured American, a laugh, a sudden explosion of violence, a time span so short it sounds impossible. 45 seconds, 21 men. Some say it was a Ranger, others swear it had to be OSS. A few claim no single man could do that it must have been an ambush or shell fire or luck. But the truth doesn't care if it's believed, because the man himself never corrects the story. When he finally rejoins American lines, muddy, exhausted, eyes hollow, he doesn't boast, doesn't explain, doesn't even tell the full account. He gives his name, his unit, and says only this: "They took me prisoner. I got away." And that's all anyone ever officially records. No medals for 45 seconds of terror, no citation listing 21 names, just another anonymous act of survival swallowed by a war made of millions like it. But among the men who hear the story, whispered in foxholes passed between units late at night, it becomes something else. A reminder that sometimes the most dangerous moment in war isn't when you're charging forward with an army at your back, but when you think the fight is already over.